Epic boss, so powerful. Throwing things dozens of kilometers away in one go, Qinfeng was stunned for a moment. This guy, is he trying to lure him away with this snake tooth? Osirio, go pick up the snake tooth? Qinfeng didn't need to go there by himself. Although Osirio was bored, he was always paying attention to Qinfeng. After all, he had to be ready at any time, just in case Qinfeng needed to run away with it. Hearing this, he immediately flew out. This tooth, a good thing? Osirio remained invisible and flew out instantly. At the same time, the female player Tao Tu eats hot pot today, riding a gray eagle, also saw this scene, and actually flew in the direction where the tooth flew out. It's a pity that compared with Osirio's speed, the Great Eagle was too slow. So slow that it couldn't even get the exhaust. And Qinfeng here. When the Great Disaster Pluto Halls lost the old disaster Snake Fang, he finally regained the surrounding ability of the upper level of Fix. A burst of black mist swept towards the surroundings and spread to a full 10 kilometers away. 5 points of instant death per second and 5 points of nightmare per second began to stack directly on Qinfeng. The strength and range of this upper level of Fix surround far exceed the diamond level boss. Under normal circumstances, there are 2 ways to fight this boss. One is to prepare to strip the team and strip all the upper level of Fixes of the boss before the own gauge is full. The other way to fight is the stupid way. That is, to prepare multiple teams and take turns to attack the boss. When the affix is about to be fully stacked, retreat and let others take over. But it is obvious, facing the wise epic boss, the stupid way is not very feasible, because the range is too large, and many times there is no time to get out of the affected range. What's more, once someone's affixes are almost full, they will definitely be hunted down by the boss. Therefore, the peeling affix is the most important attribute for attacking high-level bosses. Little assassin, get out of here if you know what's good for you. The Great Disaster Hades sneered, but he didn't dare to stop and ran away, because it knew how terrible Qinfeng's damage was. Once it stopped, Qinfeng could kill it in 1 second, even if it restored the inviolable affix. The 3 super skills had been unbanned, and it didn't dare to use them, because it had to stop to use those 3 skills. It had to keep moving at a high speed at all times to prevent Qinfeng's Shadow of Murder from attacking it, and it could avoid some of Qinfeng's damage. According to this progress, before Qinfeng had time to peel it off, he would have to stack up the instant death scale and fall into a dead state. This was the last struggle of the Great Disaster Hades. It wanted to persuade Qinfeng to retreat by surrounding it with the upper affixes. Unfortunately, it miscalculated one thing. Qinfeng's fastest skill to stack higher level affixes has not been used yet. A mythical skill that can slash dozens of times instantly. Thousand Blades Break. The cooldown of Thousand Blades Break is only 1 seconds. According to calculations, 6 consecutive Thousand Blades Breaks can strip off its higher level affixes. Then take this opportunity to kill it instantly. This skill has average damage against epic bosses, because epic bosses have high damage resistance attributes. Skills with high frequency and low damage like Thousand Blades Break are not as good as those of Instant Shadow Slash and Scarlet Blade. Moreover, the previous Great Disaster Hades was protected by Old Scourge Snake Fangs, so it was meaningless to stack the higher level of fixed scale on it. But now, the boss hit the blade by itself. 6,000 Blades Breaks took less than 11 seconds in total. The instant death of fixed scale that Qinfeng had encountered before had long been eliminated over time. In these 11 seconds, Hanfeng's instant death gauge will be stacked to about 40%, and as for the nightmare gauge, it can't even stack to 10%. So, just when the Great Disaster Hades was expecting Qinfeng to retreat in the face of difficulties, suddenly, Thousand Blades Breaking. In an instant, more than 40 sword lights slashed at the boss invisibly. Puff, puff, puff. Although the damage of this skill is relatively ordinary for the Great Disaster Hades, it instantly stacked a 15% peeling gauge on its head. It can be calculated that the boss's peeling resistance is almost 10,000, but in front of the Thousand Blades Breaking, such a high peeling resistance can't last long. What kind of shitty skill is this? More than 40 attacks in an instant. This scene instantly shattered the Great Disaster Hades' fantasy, although it has some understanding of the godforsaken game solution. But after all, it is not the Eye of Knowledge, and it does not know everything. The legendary assassin skill Thousand Blades Breaking Strike made it confused. Not to mention that this skill has evolved to the mythical level in Qinfeng's hands. It is worth mentioning that the upper level affixes of skills and general attacks are not only based on the attack frequency. In fact, it is also related to the skill and weapon grade. If the skill is too low grade, the super level affix scale will be attenuated when it hits a high level boss. If the weapon is too low level, the super level affixes will also be attenuated when attacking a high level boss. But Qinfeng does not need to worry about this, because his skills can evolve. They will always surpass the Ba, and his weapon is the original primary Blade of Judgment Divine Armor, which is even less likely to be suppressed and attenuated. In addition, the super level affix scale of some professional skills is increased. For example, great sword skills, some magic skills with long casting time, and some professional finishing moves will have upper scale amplification. For example, If the panel has 20 nightmare affixes, a Berserker's Visceral Axe may stack 30 or 40 nightmare scales. Some assassin finishing moves also have similar amplification effects, but Qinfeng has not yet obtained them. When Qinfeng used Thousand Blades Break for the first time, the Great Disaster Hades felt that there was still a little hope. Such an outrageous skill must have a long cooldown time, right? But soon, 71 seconds later, the Great Disaster Hades was attacked more than 40 times again. This made the Great Disaster Hades completely desperate. This skill has a cooldown of less than 2 seconds. How is it possible? Absolutely impossible. It must be a charging skill. It must be like this. Charging twice, and the third time will take a long time. Then it was the third Thousand Blades Break. The Great Disaster Hades fantasy was broken again. During this period, Qinfeng also marked the boss as dead, and constantly interspersed Shadow Blade and Scarlet Blade, causing its health to steadily decrease. The most important means of output is naturally the Gift of Liberation. The active effect of the Gift of Liberation now has a cooldown of more than 3 seconds, and each use has a 5x throat-cutting damage that lasts for 3 seconds. Using a Gift of Liberation is equivalent to increasing the damage of the next skill by 15 times. This made Qinfeng sigh again. The Gift of Liberation is worthy of being the magic skill of the assassin system. The Great Disaster Hades was completely anxious. While running away, he held a more than 10-meter long white bone giant sword and slashed around randomly. Black lasers shot out of his eyes and swept around. But unfortunately, Qinfeng was too fast and perfectly avoided all the opponent's attacks. Impossible. This kind of assassin, it shouldn't exist at all. With an extremely sad and angry mood, the 20-meter tall giant skeleton of the Great Disaster Pluto finally fell under Qinfeng's Scarlet Blade and fell to the ground with a bang, exploding a floor of diamond loot and 3 epic loot. This is its basic drop, but Qinfeng doesn't think much of it. What really attracts him is his greedy hands will directly touch the legendary loot. And there is also the old disaster Snake Fang that Osiris was asked to pick up, just at the same time when the boss fell. A system prompt of the first kill of the epic boss was transmitted to the minds of all players around the world. Player Shadow Daxia killed the epic boss for the first time in the world and gained 200 reputation points. Meta. Player Shadow Daxia kills the epic boss Hallis Pluto Halls and gets 100 reputation points. Meh. Each epic boss is unique. So every time you kill an epic boss, you will be rewarded with 100 reputation points. As for the 200 points, only Qinfeng can get it. It is the epic first kill reward. And there is only one reward opportunity in the world. Just as this system prompt spread all over the world. In the Magic City, many people were heartbroken. Oh my god, the boss is dead. My son will never recover. Damn Shadow. Give my wife back my life. Additional update, it's the end of the month, and I'll ask for some power for love again. Thank you. When the reminder of the first kill of the epic boss came out, all over the world, heated discussions broke out. Whether in large countries, such as Daxia and North America, where the order is relatively stable, or in some small countries that have long been in chaos, the remaining more than 4 billion people in the world are all impressed by the codename Shadow again, at this moment. The last time Qinfeng got the first kill of the diamond level, he got it together with Wanya Weiyu and others. That time, people in many parts of the world looked up to Shadow less. After all, he also killed the diamond boss with the team, and most players would not know the inside story, let alone that the diamond boss was almost killed by Shadow alone. But this time, the first kill of the epic boss, Qinfeng got it alone again. And there are some news on the internet saying that Shadow is already level 25, and that Shadow killed the diamond boss with 1 skill. These look like gossip and are hard to believe. However, at this time, when the epic boss was also killed by Shadow, many doubts about his strength were instantly shattered. Shadow of Daxia again. What a magical oriental country. Shadow is so powerful. It is a wise choice for us to befriend Daxia. Beware of fire, theft, and Shadow. Although Shadow has not left Daxia now, we must be prepared for Shadow to invade our country. Shadow must be listed as a target that must be eradicated. Otherwise, Daxia will soon be above the whole world. It is recommended that we unite the world to fight against Shadow. What Sheba suggested is good. Don't suggest it next time? Shadow is so strong. Why don't we choose to cooperate with Daxia? Shadow. What does it have to do with me? How many first kills he gets? I only know that I have married 20 wives in the African tribe. Cool. The whole world is in chaos. In fact, the places where there are still normal networks are less than half of the original ones. A large part of the area has fallen into complete chaos. The powerful have become local tyrants, and the weak can only rely on the strong to survive, or even become slaves. In comparison, the environment in Daxia can be said to be much better. At least the authorities can currently maintain order and protect many people. But, even in this situation, some people are not satisfied and find trouble with the authorities in various ways. Simply put, the authorities protect some creatures too well. Just at the moment when the Great Disaster Pluto fell, more than 2,000 undead player skeletons that were originally transformed by the Great Disaster Pluto died instantly. Of course, they only returned their health to 0 in the game, and at the same time eliminated their original undead blessing and undead plating. As their skeleton bodies died, 3 seconds later, The 2,000 people all resurrected in their respective guilds' hiding places, and those who did not belong to any guild resurrected in the public teleportation array. Among the 2,000 people, more than 1,000 were dragged into the nightmare state by Qin Feng's endless nightmare because they were summoned by the boss and wanted to self-destruct. Even if they were resurrected at the resurrection point, they were screaming in pain and crawling in the dark on the ground, which was extremely miserable. But there were nearly 1,000 people who were not next to the boss at the time and were not dragged into the nightmare by Qin Feng because they were sent outside before to hunt down other players and expand the size of the undead. For example, the young man Fu Shi, who was originally the manager of the Sky Dome Guild. Of course, this guy has now been kicked out of the Sky Dome Guild. When he was resurrected in the central teleportation array of the ruins of the Magic City, he was in a trance. 2 survived. Shadow killed the great disaster Hades. I survived. First shocked, then ecstatic. The young man Fuxi was in a state of surprise after surviving a disaster. You know, he saw with his own eyes that a player who seemed to be a summoner was trampled to death by the boss more than 10 times, and he died completely after more than 1,000 years of life. At this time, he no longer had the energy to think about how the summoner player could have a lifespan of more than 1,000 years. Maybe it was the guild leader who embezzled the members' taxes or something. Fuxi's mind was full of the scene of that guy being trampled into a pile of broken bones. How tragic would it be if he died completely like that guy? Didn't I just want to take advantage and try to grab an epic boss? Although it's a bit stupid. It won't make me die so miserably. Right? Fortunately, the boss was killed by Shadow. Fuxi was like a resurrection from a desperate situation. At this time, this young man made him kneel down and call Qin Feng Dad. I'm afraid they would not hesitate, and there are many players like Fuxi. They resurrected in their respective guilds' hideouts or public teleportation array, and each of them felt the joy of surviving a disaster. Nearly 1,000 people recovered from the undead state. Although they died once before recovery and lost a lot of life, they survived, which made most of them worship Shadow as a god. The news of so many people recovering immediately spread in the ruins of the Magic City and even the entire Daxia. After all, private chats between players are real-time chats, which are more convenient than making phone calls. The news that Shadow disregarded the lives of more than 2,000 people to kill the epic boss that just began to circulate was directly criticized by countless people. At this time, the female player Tao Tu eats hot pot today, riding a gray eagle, was also stunned. After killing the boss, those people recover. How is this possible? Could the boss's shouting be a lie? The female player still hasn't realized that the boss is a fully conscious and intelligent being, and thought that it was just a routine shouting when the boss's blood was low. However, seeing that many people on the internet were trampled, Tao Tu did not regret it. After all, she gained a lifespan of 300 years by selling this news. This is a huge fortune for her, but at this moment, the player with the English ID in her friend list suddenly privately chatted with her. The news you provided is not true. We have the right to refuse payment. Tao Tu was confused. No, how can this news not be true? That's what the boss said. No matter how she explained, the other party did not achieve the purpose of discrediting Qin Feng, so it was naturally impossible for him to be a sucker and pay. Tao Tu didn't get any benefits, so she naturally refused to give up. Moreover, she just saw the boss throw something and wanted to pick it up, but her eagle flew too slowly and lost it. She didn't even know where it was thrown. This made her very upset. Wait, I have other news. The reason why she said this was because she saw a crying post on the forum. It was a player who was transformed into an undead and then recovered. The player said with tears in his eyes that all the players who were in the nightmare state were sent into the nightmare by the Shadow, including his wife. Because the host also suffered 2 nightmare scale superpositions from the Shadow, if he was not just at the edge of the affected area, the Shadow was also moving all the time, and he would have fallen into the nightmare. The post was not popular, and even few people responded. After all, everyone who knew about it knew that if Qin Feng hadn't taken action, those people would have suffered a worse fate. But for Peach Rabbit, it was like grabbing a life-saving straw. She immediately contacted the player with the English codename again. She thought there was hope for her 300-year lifespan again. Unfortunately, she didn't know, for the sake of this 300-year lifespan, she was going further and further down the road of self-destruction. The official is already fully investigating the source of the previous slanderous news about Shadow. At this time, Qin Feng was happily sorting out the spoils of this battle. First of all, lifespan. Because the great disaster, Pluto Halls absorbed a large amount of lifespan from the players in this battle. Qin Feng also exploded that part of his lifespan after killing him. You have obtained 1941, 7 years of life tradable. You have obtained 529, 4 years of life not tradable. This is just the life light ball that Qin Feng picked up from the ground. It was originally on the player. After passing through the boss, half of it was deducted. The basic reward for the epic boss is 750 years of tradable life, plus 600 evolution points. When Qin Feng used the Hand of Greed, he directly took out 5 extra reward. It's a pity that it's not 6. Qin Feng couldn't help but complain. Why did his luck suddenly get worse? Fortunately, even if it was 5 extra rewards, it directly gave Qinfeng an extra 3750 years of life plus 3000 evolution points. This brought Qinfeng's evolution points to 3988 point, nearly 4000 points. It's still better to be a high-level boss. Qinfeng put away the reward. Then, there was a pile of loot. The basic drop of epic boss is 2 to 3 pieces of epic loot, plus 8 pieces of diamond loot. After using the Hand of Greed, the boss exploded 12 pieces of legendary loot and 34 pieces of epic loot. Unfortunately, the equivalent exchange of leather pants cannot convert anything above epic. Among these 12 legendary loot, only 1 assassin skill book can be used by myself. This luck can be said to be really bad. Of course, according to probability, there are so many professions in this godforsaken game. It is normal to have 1 assassin's loot among the 12 loot. Fortunately, the remaining epic loot can all be converted. Qinfeng slowly combined 10 into 1, and finally got 2 more assassin's things, but it only took 1 or 2 days to get it done. So at this time, counting the previous inventory, Qinfeng immediately obtained a legendary assassin skill book, and then combined 10 epic assassin equipment into a legendary assassin equipment. Instant Destruction Legendary. Assassin's finishing skill, consume 100 combo points. Instantly slash all targets within 5 meters in front of you, and add agility x 200 points of physical attack. If the target has continuous damage, all continuous damage will be increased by 50% and detonated instantly. Required level 30. There is no doubt that this assassin skill is a super assassin's finishing skill. Its additional attack is not a fixed value, but the higher the agility, the higher the additional attack. So far, the additional attack of other output skills obtained by Qinfeng is only more than 10,000 points, and this instant destruction skill, if combined with Qinfeng's snatching Saint Hand to steal the agility value of the boss attribute, its additional physical attack reaches more than 400. Counting Qinfeng's basic physical attack and stealth attack, in terms of basic damage, instant annihilation is 10 times that of other skills. Let me calculate. If you first use the Grace of Liberation and the Instant Shadow Slash, and then use Instant Annihilation to detonate the throat-cutting damage, even if you are fighting an epic boss like the Great Disaster Hades, you can instantly explode 200 million to 300 million in damage. High basic damage, increase continuous damage, and detonate. It is a perfect match for Qinfeng's Gift of Liberation active effect. Thanks for the gift from the Great Disaster Hades. Qinfeng narrowed his eyes. Although it is said that in the middle and late stages of the godforsaken game, the upper level of fixes are very important. No matter when, the damage value is the basic of the basics. As long as the damage is high enough and the boss is killed in one blow, doesn't matter what affixes there are. Of course, because it is difficult for players to stack upper level affixes and upper level resistances. Therefore, before he can really kill the epic boss in 1 second, Qinfeng must also honestly respond to different bosses in different ways. Of course, Qinfeng has not yet reached level 30, so he cannot learn this skill. The Great Disaster Hades is a level 30 boss, and the things it explodes are all level 28-30. It seems that I can only wait until level 30, although the official of the Magic City has invited the Big Hammer back. That guy can only reduce the level requirements of equipment, but not skill books. The one-armed dwarf Big Hammer is an NPC from the Magic City who has been invited by the official. He can reduce the level requirements of equipment that players cannot use temporarily. But if the level of the thing is reduced, the attributes will naturally be reduced. Qinfeng looked at his evolution points, thought about it, and decided to evolve a previous skill first. You have consumed 1000 evolution points, and there are 2988 points left. It's Blessing of the Lightning Fairy Mythic, Ancient. Added Holy Thunder. No level requirement? That's Thunder of Shelter. You are immune to all control effects of the lightning element. And the accumulation speed of the upper affix scale is reduced by 50%, 75%. Thunder of Destruction. All your attacks add 50%, 75% lightning element damage. Holy Thunder New. You gain 1 layer of damage-free shield per second, up to 12 layers. The accumulation speed of the upper affix scale is reduced from 50% to 75%. This means Qinfeng's resistance to all upper affixes has doubled again. The damage of the Thunder of Destruction is higher. A new Holy Thunder has been added, which gains 1 layer of damage-free shield per second. These 1,000 evolution points are worth spending, but Qinfeng took a look to evolve the skill from the Ancient level to the Immortal level. The evolution points consumed are 20,000 points. To evolve a skill to the Immortal level, the evolution points required are the basic consumption multiplied by 10,000, obviously. This is not something Qinfeng is considering at this stage. Instead of saving so many points to evolve once, it is better to evolve other skills several times. There are nearly 3,000 evolution points left, so keep them for now. There are quite a few previous small skills that can be evolved, but they are not very meaningful. After all, the initial grade of the previous skills is relatively low, and the cost effectiveness of subsequent evolution is not high. It is better to save and evolve key skills, and the combat power will be more significantly improved. Then, Qinfeng looked at the assassin equipment that had just been synthesized. Assassination Hood Legendary. Assassin equipment. Agility plus 123. Physical defense plus 420. All element resistance plus 390. Required level 25. Special. Inviolability plus 32. 7. Unique special effect. Accurate and deadly. You passively gain 399% hit correction. Unique special effect. Assassination activated. Within 15 seconds after the active activation, you will hide your identity, and the players killed by you will not know your game code. It will also be displayed as unknown in the kill record. This special effect has a cooldown of 1 hour. This equipment has nothing else to do. Qinfeng mainly likes the inviolable affix and the 399% hit correction. As for the assassination effect of hiding the identity, is it useful? If Qinfeng wants to kill someone, he will kill him, and there is no need to hide his identity at all. As for the required level of this equipment is 25, because this equipment is synthesized from 10 and 1, so the required level is the average level of the 10 raw materials. Qinfeng can just take it. At this time, Qinfeng looked at a pile of legendary loot in his backpack. If these equipment are sold to the official's strength will be greatly enhanced. However, although the official of Magic City has invited the Big Hammer back, the minimum required level of legendary equipment is 20, it can't be lower. Therefore, at this stage, even if Qinfeng sells things to the official, no one in the official can use them. There are some epic loot. The minimum use requirement can be reduced to level 15, but Qinfeng can transform and synthesize epic things himself. Therefore, the official is destined not to enjoy this part of the benefits at present. Some diamond level equipment can be sold. After all, it takes 2 trips to synthesize diamond level equipment to legendary level. Now that you can kill epic boss, there is no need to be so troublesome. In order to synthesize legendary equipment or skill books more efficiently, Qinfeng is going to sell all the diamond level equipment and skill books of other professions. And many diamond level equipment and skill books have superordinate affixes. Qinfeng knows very well. After this batch of equipment is sold, the strength of the official Magic City will soar a lot, at least 1 month ahead of others. And for Qinfeng, the income from selling this batch of things is much higher than the previous ones. And even it is possible to eat up all the guild taxes of the official Magic City. At this time, Osiris finally flew back happily. It flew dozens of kilometers and looked at the old Calamity Snakefang thrown away by the boss, and its eyes lit up. Finally brought that thing back to Qinfeng. But when Osiris threw the Snakefang and the Dragonclaw to Qinfeng reached out and hugged it, suddenly a little confused. This thing can't be put into the storage bag. Think about it. If it can be put, then the boss doesn't have to hang it on his waist. But this thing is as big as a human head. How can I carry it on my body? Hang it on the waist like the boss? It's a bit outrageous, right? Anyway, Qinfeng took a look at the attributes of this thing first. Old Scourge Snakefang Mythic. After carrying it, clear the upper affix scale status on your body every 5 seconds. Bataratsu. Warning. This item does not belong to this game world. All effects are invalid. Then, sure enough, Qinfeng saw it and sighed. In fact, he knew in his previous life that some players had obtained some strange things, some from the boss, and some from the NPC, or they were deceived by the NPC to buy it, but they found that they were not effective in the godforsaken game on Blue Star. To use the words of online games, that is, this thing is not from this server. Of course, this does not mean that this thing is useless. It's just that to transform it into something usable, you have to go through a special NPC, and that NPC was invited back to the hideout by a guild in Sakura country in the previous life. To be honest, this function is a bit useless. Globally, there are very few people who can get this kind of props that are not from this world. But unfortunately, there is only one NPC with this function. So in the previous life, many people had to spend thousands, or even tens of thousands of years of life to go to the guild in Sakura country and find that NPC to transform the props. After all, these props from other civilized game worlds are not weak, and are even very strong. For example, this old Calamity Snakefang. However, I heard that the NPC's transformation is not completely transformed. After the transformation, the function of the props will change. Qinfeng shook his head. In this life, he may be able to go to Sakura country and intercept the NPC. He just happened to be preparing to find the temple of the goddess of death, so he just happened to deal with it together. He recalled some records. The time when the guild invited the NPC was just shortly after the first spread of Wasteland. Of course, Qinfeng didn't know the specific invitation method. In the previous life, the game guild named Key in Sakura country did not publish the invitation strategy for the NPC. Qinfeng could only explore it at that time, or follow the members of the Key guild at that time to see their ideas first. However, many things have changed in this life because of me. Ichiro Tashima has been accused more in Sakura country than in the previous life, and is still stuck in the quagmire. I can only go and take a look at it at that time. At least, Qinfeng can only rely on the Key Guild to lead the way to the area where the NPC appears. Otherwise, searching randomly would be like looking for a needle in a haystack. Come, take this thing. Qinfeng threw the old disaster Snakefang back to Osario. This thing was too big, and Qinfeng was too lazy to take it. After finishing these things, Qinfeng planned to go back and continue to upgrade the defensive barrier of the hiding place. The disturbance outside could not bring any impact to Qinfeng. But what he didn't expect was, just when he returned to the Evil Spirit Academy and put the old Scourge Snake Fang back into the basement, Wanya Weiyu sent him a private message. Master, we have just arrested a female player who is collaborating with the enemy. She is selling information about you and slandering you. But this information was secretly found by our comrades and foreign spies. But there is no evidence. So she is very stubborn and doesn't admit it at all. Master, do you want to deal with it? Now your deterrent power is stronger than our official. By the way, for this epic boss incident, we are going to give you a medal with a bonus of 1 Alpen years of life. Hearing this, Qinfeng was a little surprised. The official is going to give a medal and a bonus of 1,000 years of life. Qinfeng figured it out at once. This is the reward for him to deal with the epic boss, although he gained a lot this time. He got it by killing the boss himself. From the official point of view, it is unreasonable to give no reward to the shadow who made great contributions. After all, this time is different from the past. This time, Qinfeng saved. It is likely that the entire ruins of the Magic City and thousands of Magic City players... Okay, give me the coordinates, Qinfeng replied. Don't miss out on a free lifespan. It's just right to take that batch of diamond level equipment and skill books and sell them to the official. Indeed. If this batch of equipment is auctioned, Qinfeng will get more. But if this kind of equipment, which is the strongest in the current version, is leaked to the outside, there will be too many hidden dangers, and Qinfeng is also afraid that he will shoot himself in the foot. Although he is not afraid, it is better to have less trouble. A stable development environment in China will definitely be more beneficial to Qinfeng's development. After all, there will be more people looking for bosses for him. A few minutes later, Qinfeng came to the platinum level hideout of the Daxia Navy, the Misery Prison. Wanya Weiyu currently belongs to this guild, before the advent of the God-forsaken game. She was a member of the Magic City Coast Guard. Now, she's at the forefront of the game and has become one of the managers of the Daxia Navy. Speaking of which, this Misery Prison is not the first time Qinfeng has come. The last time I came here, I killed the disaster prisoner Thousand-Handed Baby Girl and got the key to the hideout. The sonic attack of this platinum level boss was very strong, and Qinfeng was a little flustered at the time. This time, I came here again and found that this place has been built quite prosperously. And the platinum level boss is already a second-hand item in front of Qinfeng. There are more than 50 Wozen members of the Daxia Navy Guild, but this is not the total number of the Daxia Navy. Many are still scattered in other official guilds. At this moment, in the Misery Prison covering an area of nearly 1,000 acres, many official players of the Daxia Navy are coming and going to deal with things. Not long ago, when the Great Disaster Hades appeared, the guild urgently recalled all the members who were leveling up outside to prepare to resist the boss. So now the hideout is a bit crowded. Unexpectedly, the boss was directly killed by Qinfeng. It's Shadow. Shadow is here. Hello, Shadow. Salute. When Qinfeng appeared and entered the hideout with Wanya Weiyu, the official players along the way greeted Qinfeng and even saluted. Everyone looked at Qinfeng with excitement and novelty. There was no way. Usually not many people can see Qinfeng's true face. Qinfeng wore a legendary assassination hood, but he hid the style of the hat, leaving only the white lifeless mask, which looked extremely cold, on his body. There were 12 layers of damage-free shields from the Blessing of the Thunder Fairy, showing a lavender thunder shield covering him. There was also a light golden inviolable energy surrounding his body, which looked extremely sacred. Right here, she is temporarily locked up by us. Wanya Weiyu took Qinfeng all the way to the depths of the Prison of Suffering. This place was originally a prison, and it could be transformed to imprison players, making it impossible for players to leave. Soon, Qinfeng heard a female player's chatter. Yes, I said some bad things about Shadow on the forum. But isn't that the truth? Aren't those players who fell into the nightmare sent into the nightmare by Shadow? I just mean, well, and I've apologized. What else do you want from me? As for your collusion with foreign enemies, that's absolutely not the case. It's slander. You illegally detained me. Wanya Weiyu walked beside Qinfeng, listening to these helplessly. Our comrades, working in North America, secretly investigated the source of the news, which came from her. If she takes the initiative to admit it, we will give her a chance if she confesses. But if she keeps denying it, then we can only handle it impartially. Special times, special events, there is no need to argue with you about evidence. Now the official has not dealt with this woman, just because the official is still kind and willing to give her a chance. But Qinfeng is different. When Qinfeng came over and saw the female player with the codename Tao Tu eats hot pot today, he didn't even blink his eyes, and raised his hand to cut her with a knife. Puff! Tao Tu was still chattering about eating hot pot today. When she saw Qinfeng and Wanya Weiyu, she was obviously a little surprised and nervous. Just when she was about to speak, she was killed by Qinfeng with a knife. Wanya Weiyu, who saw this scene, and the two official members who were responsible for dealing with Tao Tu were a little dumbfounded for a while. Isn't this too straightforward? When the woman was killed, her body disappeared directly. It was obvious that she was sent to the Land of Judgment by Qinfeng. Let me deal with it. Qinfeng smiled faintly. There is no need to waste your time on such a person. Don't worry. I will handle it well. Since he said so, Wanya Weiyu and others naturally had no objection. In special times, people who sell information to enemy countries will be severely punished. Leave it to Qinfeng. They believe there will be no problem. As for Qin Feng, he thought about it for a while. As Shaq Cece said before that if the current player's strength level continues to be judged, the divinity limit of the Blade of Judgment can be raised to about 100 points. It's only 51 points now, so there is still room. However, only players who are extremely evil need to be judged to get a small amount of benefits. This woman is collaborating with the enemy, spreading information and gossiping. Is it considered a serious crime? At this time, Qin Feng recalled, he had thrown a few guys in Sichuan before, and they haven't been judged yet, just together. However, after these few days, those players should have starved to death in reality, right? I don't know what this situation will be like in the place of judgment. Qin Feng certainly would not go directly to the Judgment Land. After he sent the Peach Rabbit in, he continued to discuss the following matters with Wanye Weiyu. One was about the meritorious medal, the other was about the batch of diamond-level equipment. Both of these matters were handled by Wanye Weiyu. It was not because she looked down on Qin Feng and did not ask the guild leader to come, but because she knew Qin Feng's character, so she did not make a big fuss when doing things. For Qin Feng, it was indeed the same. When she learned that Qin Feng was going to sell a batch of diamond-level equipment, Wanye Weiyu's attitude became extremely solemn. She kept discussing with the higher-ups and quickly made a decision. The official would take as many of these equipment as they wanted, but they could not give out so much life for the time being. How about this? Master, you list the attributes of these equipment. We may not be able to take all of them, but we can still sell them to official guilds across the country. Wanye Weiyu made a decision? Okay. Qin Feng nodded, and he was not in a hurry. The value of these diamond equipments adds up to tens of thousands of years of lifespan, and this is the part that Qin Feng synthesized before. Otherwise, the number would be even greater. After talking with Wanye Weiyu, Qin Feng entered the invisible state and left quietly. The place of judgment. Here, it is still a white jade maze, with a white jade platform in the middle. On the white jade platform, Ashak Sisi, dressed in a white robe, was kneeling on her knees, like an eternal stone sculpture. As a burst of white light flashed next to her, Qin Feng's figure slowly appeared next to Ashak Sisi. Ashak Sisi seemed to be alive, with a faint golden light flowing in her eyes, and she bowed slightly to Qin Feng. I haven't been here for a while. Recently, I have used the time for dinner to finish reading those ancient divine language books. Qin Feng took out the books and handed them to Ashak Sisi. Ashak Sisi gave him 10 more books in return. Qin Feng took them silently. Fortunately, his mental attributes are very high now, and his memory and thinking speed are dozens of times faster than those of ordinary people. Otherwise, these things would be really hard to chew. Anyway, I just read them while eating, so I don't waste time. And absorbing the knowledge in these classics also made Qin Feng's ancient divine language improve rapidly. At least using the fake language of the ancient divine language for daily communication can be achieved quickly. This shows the importance of learning material. Things that I didn't learn in 9 years in my previous life have gradually improved in these few days. Then, Qin Feng focused his attention on the 7 players who were recently sent to the Judgment Land. A Sichuan female player, Qing Qing, a professional mage, and her 5-licking G, plus the Magic City player, Ta-Otu Eats Hot Pot today, who was just sent in. The first 6 people, because they were sent in 2 or 3 days ago, and their physical attributes were not very high. Most of them have starved to death or died of thirst. But in the Judgment Land, they are still frozen on the edge of the White Jade Maze. I don't know. What is in this Judgment Land is essentially their game body, or their consciousness. Ashasi said before that the time in the Judgment Land is absolutely still relative to the outside world. So, the time in the Judgment Land is independent of the outside world. Qin Feng still doesn't understand the specific situation. After all, Qin Feng didn't come into contact with the concept of time in his previous life. He still doesn't understand why the real people outside are dead, but the players in this Judgment Land can still exist. It's useless to think too much about this issue. Qin Feng just focused on the divinity that needs to be consumed to judge these people, and the gains that can be obtained. Qin Feng observed the 7 people. When he came to the Judgment Land, the eyes of the 7 people all became extremely shocked and confused. They all heard the system prompt that they were killed by Shadow. Then they came to this place called Judgment Land. What the hell is this place? Judgment. Some of the people Shadow killed before disappeared inexplicably. Could they have come here? If so, then I can never go back. The 7 people were a little nervous, shocked, and confused. At this moment, Qin Feng started a trial against these 7 people at the same time. He still defined these 7 people as fugitives according to the previous minigame rules, and started a trial against all 7 people at the same time. The total consumption is 32 points of divinity, if you judge one person at a time. The minimum consumption is 10 points of divinity, but multiple people seem to save some consumption. Qin Feng realized that this might be the consumption required to start the minigame and change the rules of the minigame. After all, if there are 7 trials, 7 minigames needed to be launched, now only 1 is needed. Then, in Qin Feng's mind, all the memories of the 7 people emerged at the same time. Of course, Qin Feng mainly checked the situation of Peach Rabbit Eats Hot Pot today. Facts have proved that this woman is just as the official said. And she is indeed colluding with foreign players and wants to sell information that can discredit him. In this case, trial. When Qin Feng's trial order was issued, the 7 players were each sent to a fantasy world of infinite torture. Qin Feng observed carefully. Soon it was discovered that the Peach Rabbit Eats Hot Pot Today had committed a more serious crime. He was directly sent to the same Knife Mountain punishment scene as Huang Ziqing, falling from the sky endlessly and repeatedly, and then enjoying the pain of being pierced by swords. Huang Ziqing murdered his mother, and this Peach Rabbit betrayed the country that gave birth to him. Xinfeng really didn't understand the specific reasons, process, and results of the trial, but if it was just a simple case of repaying kindness with enmity or betrayal, the judgment on the Sichuan female player Qing Qing is undoubtedly a bit light. After all, this female player also repays kindness with enmity. The young swordsman saved her from the monster, but she accused him of taking advantage and wanted to kill him. Her end was just to be sent to a place full of monsters. Every time she was about to be swallowed by the monster, a young swordsman would appear. But the young swordsman would always watch with a sneer from a distance and would not save her. So, she was swallowed by the monster. She was surrounded by nightmare energy, and the nightmare gauge quickly stacked up to 100%, falling into an extremely painful dream. After death, this scene repeated again. It has to be said that this end is very suitable for this female player, but she is also the type of repaying kindness with enmity. Why didn't she go into the oil pan? The old corpse collector also repaid his father-in-law with evil, which led to him being sent to the oil pan. No, there is a key point in this. Xinfeng narrowed his eyes and soon found a blind spot. Now there are 3 people who have experienced the oil pan and knife mountain punishment. An old corpse collector and Huang Ziqing. They are working together to kill Xinfeng. One is Tao Tu eating hot pot today, and they are joining forces with foreign enemies to spread rumors and discredit Xinfeng. Could it be double judgment? Xinfeng then observed the 5G lickers. Their sin was to lick them, licking them indiscriminately, and 5 people teamed up to lick one person, which was really against the will of heaven, and their fate was to appear in the same illusion. That scene was the cave of the Worm Queen that Xinfeng had visited before. They first saw a woman in the caves, and that woman was the female mage Qing Qing. They had been licking. An impulse of desire made them rush towards the woman's figure. They stroked the woman's figure frantically. They even drooled. But suddenly, the woman's figure instantly turned into a fat and sticky worm. Ah! The worm sneered, swallowing and chewing them one by one. After a while, the 5 people resurrected together and continued to experience the same scene. The key point was that they had memories every time they repeated it. So now they looked at the woman's figure in the cave, and they already felt fear and disgust, but they still couldn't control themselves and rushed forward frantically. Compared to the first situation, this kind of fear of knowing what will happen is more unforgettable. So, Xinfeng looked at all the players being judged in the Judgment Land as if he was checking the surveillance camera. Cao Cao Ye, the corpse collector, was sentenced to the oil pan. Huang Ziqing and Tao Tu were sentenced to the knife mountain. The punishments for others were to make them bear the sins they committed. Cao Xiaowei, in addition to repaying kindness with enmity and getting rid of his father-in-law, he also wanted to kill me. Huang Ziqing not only killed his mother, but also wanted to kill me. Tao Tu betrayed the country and wanted to discredit me. These 3 people are double sins. In addition to these 3 people, the female mage Qing Qing, although she repaid kindness with enmity, her target was not Xinfeng, but the young swordsman. Fatty Hu was the same. Although he killed innocent people indiscriminately, he would not dare to provoke the shadow even if he had 10,000 guts. The 5 lickers also did not offend Xinfeng. The only thing that Xinfeng cares about is Fike heavy industry. The troublemaker Chen Dadan. Chen Dadan also betrayed the country and insulted me. But his end was just to watch his wife being, isn't he also a double sin? Or is it that the sin of insulting me is not as good as spreading rumors and slandering me, or even killing me? If Xinfeng has the power of judgment and is regarded as a god, then the sin of those who are punished by being thrown into the oil pan or the mountain of knives is equivalent to blasphemy, or even killing God. In comparison, killing God does seem to be more serious. As for what Tao Tu did, it was to spread rumors and slander Xinfeng, which can be interpreted as a more serious blasphemy. Compared to what Chen Dadan did, he just insulted me by himself and didn't want to bring others to insult me. So, his sins are not enough to reach the oil pan or the mountain of knives. Xinfeng felt that he had a little clue, but whether it is true or not is not very certain. In this regard, Ashos is also a very professional riddler. She didn't reveal any information to Xinfeng, and only said that Xinfeng needed to figure out the matter of the power of judgment by himself. Xinfeng didn't get entangled. In short, his level is still very low at present, so he should cultivate the Blade of Judgment first, and through this trial. Although the judge is weak, there is one who has reached the Mountain of Knives, after all, and Xinfeng's benefits are not bad in the end. The upper limit of the divinity of the Blade of Judgment has increased from 51 points to 59 points. The increase of its basic attributes has increased from 41% to 49%. Not bad. Just when Xinfeng smiled, the 7 people who were judged were in boundless fear. In a short period of time, they have experienced several reincarnations. The female mage, Qing Qing, was swallowed by different monsters every time, and each time she died was extremely miserable. The main thing was that she could see the young swordsman every time. He could save her, but he didn't save her. Hey, just playing. This made the female player cry bitterly. The illusion where the 5 lickers were in was another style. They even vomited, but they still couldn't help but hug the female figure and lick it. Then, the female figure suddenly turned into a worm and chewed and swallowed them. The 5 lickers cried bitterly. The last one was Peach Rabbit Eats Hot Pot Today, who experienced the Knife Mountain punishment. She didn't know where she came to. She only heard some system prompts, such as being judged, and then she kept falling from a high altitude. During the falling process, the pain of facing death was the most difficult to endure. The closer she got to the ground, the more frightened she became, and she even lost control of her bladder. Falling from a height and being pierced through the body by a sword? Pain. Too much pain. For a moment, this Peach Rabbit burst into tears. Watching all this, Heinfeng's expression did not change. He knew very well. Although these people shouted I was wrong, they did not really apologize, nor did they really realize their mistakes. There is a saying that goes, this is not called repentance. He just knew that he was dying, putting them in the place of judgment. Those people did not repent. They just felt the pain and subconsciously wanted to be free. But they were all judged. How could it be so easy to be free? The corpse collector, Wang Ziqing, Chen Dadan, Hu Qibin. These people are still experiencing torture. Hundreds of times, thousands of times, tens of thousands of times, hundreds of millions of times. And the pain they experienced and the emotions they gave birth to promoted the growth of the Blade of Judgment. Swish, Qinfeng returned to the Evil Spirit Academy. He continued the work that he had not finished in the past 2 days. Upgrading the defensive barrier of the Evil Spirit Academy, he only needed the last bit of materials, and he could finish it after collecting them. At this time, although the source of Tao Tu Eats Hot Pot Today had been dealt with, but she had sent the message to certain foreign forces. As a result, the slander against Qinfeng is still flying all over the forums. Of course, it is mainly some foreign forces that are fanning the flames. Qinfeng didn't care too much about this. If those foreign forces who are making trouble are sent to the Land of Judgment, they will definitely contribute a lot, right? Qinfeng narrowed his eyes. He didn't care about the comments on him, because in a few days, the first spread of desolation will come. At that time, all forums and networks will almost collapse at once, and most of the achievements of modern civilization will begin to disappear. By then, who will have the heart to care about so many other people's affairs? The end of the world is coming. And for most players, just survival is a problem. On the domestic forums of Daxia, condemnations and outcries against the shadow would pop up from time to time. My wife only knows Abba Abba now. I finally carried her into the room of the hiding place, but she still crawled around and kept screaming. It was the shadow who made her fall into the nightmare. The shadow must be responsible. Under such a post, many people echoed it. Basically all of them had relatives and friends who also fell into the nightmare after learning that they were sent into the nightmare by the shadow. These people found it difficult to accept, but there was a post that was pushed to the top of the replies by more people. Original poster. I have never had the heart to tell you that your wife is having an affair with the leader of the Rocket Group. This time, she followed the Rocket Group to grab the epic boss. It seems that all 60 people in the Rocket Group were sent into the nightmare by the shadow. Is this also considered a suicide for love? Originally, this group of people was a minority on the internet. The post was not popular. However, many people were uncomfortable reading it and argued with others in the post. In the situation at that time, if Shadow did not take action, they would have died. That's right. If it weren't for Shadow, the entire Demon City might have fallen now. I really thought it was going to be a failure at that time. After all, Shadow took a look and left. Fortunately, nothing happened. They are all a bunch of NTs. Shadow told them not to go. But a bunch of people just didn't listen. They still have the nerve to blame Shadow when something happened. After arguing for a long time, no one could make a final decision. Until a young player codenamed Fu Shi posted another post with a very sad heart. In the post, he expressed the highest respect, the most profound apology, and the most unforgettable regret to Shadow. It took thousands of words. I saw a summoner brother being trampled to death by the boss and finally turned into a pile of broken bones. I saw that one by one. Strangers or familiar friends were forced to self-destruct by the boss. I saw that many people like me killed more people and turned them into skeletons. If it weren't for Shadow killing that epic boss, our Demon City would have fallen. We are no match for that boss. To be honest, more than 20 of my men, my friends, and my brothers have fallen into nightmares. But what does this have to do with Shadow? At that time, the boss asked us to self-destruct just to kill die Shadow. What else can Shadow do except send us into nightmare? But all this is our own fault. Admittedly, many of my friends were sent into nightmare by Shadow. Some of them did not extract much physical strength to reality, and they may not survive until the day they recover. But it's all my fault. It's my fault for not listening to Shadow. It's my fault for not listening to the official. To be honest, those who are in nightmare now are the ones who were the most active in grabbing the boss at that time. We are all adults. We should bear the consequences of our own actions. Don't put everything on Shadow. Shadow is not responsible for this. This post is very long. It also writes about some daily life between him and his team members. But now, he is leading those team members who trust him to die. He is ashamed of the trust of his team members. He also said that even if the Sky Guild did not kick him out, he would not have the face to stay in this guild. This guy seems to be truly repentant. The main thing is that he caused many people around him to fall into nightmares, but he took all the responsibility on himself. Finally, this guy made a harsh statement. Shadow has no time to care about you clowns. But Fuxi, put my words here. If anyone smears Shadow again because of this, I will challenge you offline. I will do what I say. No one could have thought of it. As soon as he posted this, the forum was quiet all of a sudden. Some people dared to shout and complain on the forum. Didn't they just know that Qinfeng had no time to care about them? But now, some people really took them seriously. You know, Fuxi was originally the manager of the Sky Guild, whether in the game or in reality. His strength is second to none in the entire Magic City. Even if he was kicked out of the Sky Guild, this guy's strength is still there, and he was lucky not to fall into a nightmare, but just lost some life. Who dares to offend him as an ordinary player? Old Zhang and Zhang Jingshuan saw the post that Fuxi posted on the forum and discussed it privately for a while. Zhang Jingshuan thought that this person had a good attitude. Should we take this person back? As a result, Old Zhang was more accurate in judging people and smiled. Girl, don't look at the surface when you look at the problem. Has he really repented? Zhang Jinshan was a little surprised to hear this, but she thought about it carefully and understood the reason. This Fuxi might just be showing it to her. The Sky Guild in Shadow. Want to return to the guild? Old Zhang said lightly. He has several equipment and skill books on him, all of which are from our guild resources. He made a big mistake and implicated other brothers in the guild. It's too cheap to kick him out of the guild, so we will definitely look for him later and take back some of the resources that the guild used to train him. Zhang Jinshun suddenly realized. I see. The beautiful soul painter nodded. Now that he has expressed his opinion, it is not appropriate for us to ask him to return these resources. After all, he still needs to help Shadow and find someone to fight alone. We need to ensure my own strength. Old Zhang smiled and said, however, I don't know anything about the internet and I haven't read any forums. What did he post? I don't know anything. I have sent people to retrieve the thing. These are the resources that Shadow helped us to fight for. We have to have a good talk with him. Zhang Jingshuan froze. Although Fuxi was very sinister, her grandfather was also very shameless. Just as the grandfather and grandson were chatting, the Evil Spirit Academy suddenly ushered in a huge change. A ray of light suddenly flashed through the translucent defense barrier around. Then, it was as if ordinary glass had turned into reinforced glass. At the same time, a system prompt was transmitted to the ears of all members of the Skydom Guild. Your Evil Spirit Academy hideout has been upgraded from Platinum level to Emerald level. Beta. The durability of the defense barrier has been increased by 900%. The strength of the defense barrier has been increased by 200%. The number of NPCs that can be invited has been increased to 7. Emerald level hideout. This system prompt shocked all members of the Skydome Guild. Damn. Didn't they say that the highest level of the hideout is Platinum? Can the level of this hideout be upgraded? Shadow bull. Too powerful. Isn't our hiding place more impregnable now? Invincible. Now that no one is talking nonsense, we don't need to build our own hiding place. Right. It's so cool under this big tree. Qinfeng finished this hiding place and breathed a sigh of relief. It took him more than 4,000 years of life in the whole process. And that was because he got a discount from the official for the materials. Although the official wanted to give it to him, he still insisted on buying it. It's better to be clear about this aspect. And he's too lazy to owe others a favor. As for the discount, there's nothing he can do. The other party said it was a discount for buying in bulk. And Qinfeng really couldn't refuse. Done. Build the teleportation array. And then go to the Soul Purification Land to build the teleportation array as well. In comparison, the construction of the teleportation array is much simpler. It only takes more than 1,000 years of life and consumes much less materials. After doing all this, Sanfeng is ready to sprint to level 30. Now he can get double experience from the Eye of Knowledge every day. Plus he remembers that there are many areas where monsters spawn quickly, so he can spawn monsters and upgrade at the fastest speed. He can almost reach level 30 before the desolation spreads. By the way, how is the Phoenix Egg in Haicheng? Qinfeng asked Wanya Weiyu. Wanya Weiyu replied that it seemed that there were two factions over there, arguing with each other, and no decision had been made yet. Qinfeng shook his head. According to the time, the level 45 epic boss, Chaos Birth Double Phoenix and 1 Luteisol, should be chasing to the ruins of Haicheng soon. If you don't make a decision, it will be too late. At this time, the ruins of Haicheng. A more intense debate broke out over the Phoenix Egg placed in the hiding place of the Flame Fountain. Due to the Great Disaster Hades incident in the Magic City, more people are willing to believe in the shadow and want to throw away the Phoenix Egg. But in the ruins of Haicheng, the young female mage in charge of this matter is guarding outside the core area of the hiding place of the Flame Fountain, preventing others from entering the core area and taking away the Phoenix Egg. The female mage looked determined and shouted, "We have studied a way to hatch the Phoenix Egg. It will hatch in 2 days at most. How can we give up at this time?" If Qinfeng were here, he would find that this female mage was one of the top 100 in the world in the previous life, codenamed Yun Jianyue. Now she has emerged in the Haicheng ruins area and has become one of the strongest players in the Haicheng area. Because she is an official, her voice is very strong now. Over in the ruins of Haicheng, The officials have split into two groups regarding the Phoenix Egg. Yoon Jun-yue has a lot of say, and a group of followers who support her guard the entrance to the core area of the Flame Fountain, not letting anyone in, facing some powerful people from the Haicheng officials. Yoon Jun-yue glanced at them indifferently. She wore a fiery red robe, held a twisted platinum-level staff, wore a fiery red magic hat, and had long hair that was dyed fiery red. She said that this hair color just matched her identity as a flame elementalist, and her image was quite eye-catching in Haicheng. After all, in this era, as long as you are strong, what you say is the truth. Stop arguing, Yoon Jun-yue said coldly and decisively. We will not give up hatching this Phoenix Egg. No matter what happens, I will take all the responsibility. As soon as these words came out, the expressions of many people in the field changed slightly. There was a young player with white hair next to her. He seemed to feel something was not right and could not help saying, "Sister." How about... This young man was Yoon Jun-yue's younger brother. His white hair was not dyed, but premature graying. His code name was Shan Shangshui, and he was the main priest of Yoon Jun-yue's team. It is impossible to give up the Phoenix Egg. Yoon Jun-yue shook his head and said in a deep voice, "Only the core area of the fiery fountain meets the conditions for hatching the Phoenix Egg." Shan Shangshui was silent for a moment, then said, "But Shadow's reminder cannot be ignored. How about this? Evacuate all the civilian players around this area before the Phoenix Egg hatches. Members of our guild temporarily leave the hiding place." As soon as this was said, many people around sneered. Among the group of people who trusted Shadow, a strong man said, "For you alone, all our guild members are homeless, and if we evacuate the surrounding area, how far do we have to evacuate? There are dozens of player guilds of all sizes within a 20-kilometer radius. Do you really think it's that easy to evacuate people?" Yoon Jun-yue looked at the man and said coldly, "Once this Phoenix Egg is hatched, the overall combat power of our Haicheng will skyrocket. All Haicheng players will be the beneficiaries, no matter how strong Shadow is. He is not ours. Haicheng people. Only when we become stronger can we gain more say in the future." Someone in the crowd snorted. "With your personality, you put all the players in the city in danger for hatching egg? I find it hard to believe that when you become stronger, you will consider the interests of all the players in the city?" Shen Shangshu glared at the man. "How can you talk like that? Isn't my sister also thinking about Haicheng? Who killed the first platinum boss in Haicheng? Who led the team to take down this hideout? Isn't this for your sake? If it were normal times, then this kind of thing can be decided by the above sentence. But now, strength has replaced the original social status and represents a more intuitive say. Finally, under the instructions of the Haicheng officials and the upper echelons of Daxia, Haicheng can only make a decision. Let Yoon Jun-yue continue to hatch eggs, but she can only take her team members to stay in the Flame Fountain hideout, and only give her 2 days. In the next 2 days, Haicheng officials will be responsible for evacuating all the players around and set up a cordon 20 kilometers nearby. No one is allowed to approach, so as to prevent accidents to the greatest extent. 2 days later, regardless of whether the Phoenix Egg is hatched or not, Yoon Jun-yue must take the Phoenix Egg away from the ruins of Haicheng. Although this compromise method is labor-intensive and costly, it is also the only way at present. And whether it is Haicheng officials or the upper echelons of Daxia, they may not hope that Daxia can have another strong man. This situation is unexpected for Qin Feng. When he learned the news from Wanya Weiyu, he was a little surprised. In the last life, this Phoenix Egg was taken by other guilds, but it was just placed in the hiding place, and the hatching progress was not activated. I didn't expect that putting it in the core area of the hiding place of the Flame Fountain could actually activate the hatching progress. But, Qin Feng shook his head. If we calculate from the time of obtaining the Phoenix Egg, the Epic Phoenix of level 45 will arrive in 1 day. If it takes 2 days to hatch, it will be too late. What's more, evacuate the players within 20 kilometers. This evacuation range is far from enough. However, Qin Feng did not continue to remind them because he could do enough. And next, he just planned to wait and see. If everything goes well, then the official hatching will be done. In the God-Forsaken game, there is a pet setting. Whether it is a pet captured directly or a pet hatched from an egg, it can help the owner fight. However, epic pets are no longer very attractive to Qin Feng. He can even kill epic boss. What use is an epic pet without the boss template bonus? The combat power is about the same as Osirio. Although Qin Feng can make the pet invisible with him, he cannot make the pet invisible like himself. Therefore, it is not very useful in battle. At the beginning, Qin Feng wanted this Phoenix Egg. More of the idea of finding a companion for Osirio, so that this guy would not be groaning all day long. But it is not necessary. But if it doesn't go well, then I will have to help in the end. If Qin Feng goes to help, he will definitely take the Phoenix Egg away. As for how to hatch it, of course, he will take it back to the hideout of the Evil Spirit Academy and use the magma energy. Although the Phoenix Egg cannot be carried through the teleportation array, but Qin Feng has the teleportation stone. After using the teleportation stone, people and objects can be teleported back together, which is also better than the teleportation array. Of course, If you really want to bring the Phoenix Egg back, you still have to solve the epic boss. Otherwise, there will be endless troubles. Under normal circumstances, Qinfeng is not the opponent of the 45 level epic boss. The level is too high, and all the attributes and values are at the crushing level. It is not the same concept as the Great Disaster Hades. The strength and resistance of various upper level affixes are 3 to 5 times stronger. But if you really want to solve it, there is a way. Qinfeng did not think about the details. This matter is not particularly important to him. The Haicheng official and the upper level of Daxia have made a decision. Before something goes wrong, it is not very appropriate for him to intervene. If the epic boss really appears, then at this stage, except for Qinfeng, no one can deal with it. And the official will eventually come to the door. It's still greed. Qinfeng shook his head and stopped thinking about it. These days, everyone wants to become stronger, but some things are really beyond the grasp of ordinary people. At this time, Qinfeng had just built the teleportation array of the Evil Spirit Academy's hideout.